You can tell we're recording this live because you'll hear some noises in the background. We might have some special visitors pop up because we're just having fun, having drinks on a good night, and we have a great guest. But first, Brandon, how you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. Can't complain. It's almost the weekend, so long weekend at that.
And that is true. That is true. When we're
So yeah,
recording, we're halfway through the work week and got the Memorial Day holiday to look forward to. And I don't know, something that you could be looking forward to, some good pours this weekend. And we've got a fun guest. She's the master blender at Jefferson's Bourbon. Let's welcome in Ali Ochoa.
Hi, thank y'all so much for having me.
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you for
Now,
being on with us. This is going to be fun.
I'm
Absolutely.
I'm I'm excited now, Brandon. Before we hopped on, I have a way with words. We've all known that. Añejo went horribly wrong down on our vacation the one time. Different things like that. I was asking Allie how bad people can screw up her name, and I was surprised at how they could mess. To me, it seems straightforward, but she said it's not always that way with folks.
I
It's
can't,
like it's like Starbucks but in person to my face instead of on a cup.
oh my gosh, I can only imagine. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
because you
fun.
don't ever get any bad. Does your name ever get screwed up, Brandon?
No, mm-mm. No. The only thing that no, I mean, the only thing is the spelling. When I tell them my name, they're like, "You spell that with an O or an E?" And I'm like, "Oh," because I guess there is folks out there that spell it with an E in instead of O in, but.
I
Like,
think that would be Brand, well, Brandon instead of Brandon. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
Brando.
yeah.
I
They
don't know.
always ask me. Yeah, they always ask me that, and I'm like, I get that asked sometimes, and I'm like, but it took me probably 30 years to figure out that there was a different spelling of Brandon. I was like, what? This exists? But yeah,
I was gonna say for Jonathan and the last name of Green, there are multiple variations. So the spelling, yes, the actual pronunciation's not so much. But we won't waste any more time. Let's get into our very first pour alley. We've got up the Jefferson's, I believe, very small batch. What can you
Yes.
tell us about this?
So this is it is kind of our core bourbon. It's great, really just easy everyday drinker. Um, is moving to full Kentucky, so it will be 100% Kentucky here soon. We're going to see some nice other little changes coming to it as well. But it was built so that it's really easy to drink on its own, but also for cocktails. So it's going to have nice heaviness that it goes well with the Manhattan. It's going to still have some nice lightness, so you're going to be able to mix it with a sour. So we really wanted it to be the easy go-to for any bourbon and just great for people that are new to the category, people that just want a cocktail and aren't going to balk at someone grabbing a really, really special high-end bottle for an old fashioned. So we just wanted this to be almost like your everyday bourbon.
It smells fantastic on the nose.
Oh, thank you.
and you guys obviously nailed it on this one because it is super easy. Um, it's 88 proof. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was one of the other little
Yeah,
surprises that's coming up here super soon.
yeah,
We
yeah.
are going to see an increase in proof and going to all Kentucky, and we're really excited. So,
That's
um,
awesome.
want to make sure that people are happy with it. And
Yeah,
another thing with it too is especially when Jefferson started, I'm sure y'all know Trey Zoller and have worked with him, heard with him, talked with him. Uh, Great person, so many good stories. But one of the best that I obviously love as a blender is that when he started obviously sourcing, so he would blend to have something that was different, and it's definitely something that we've leaned into with very small batch. So taking already beautiful bourbons, but doing something better for it as far as making it very cocktail, easy to drink on its own, and just getting to play with different elements that'll bring in vanilla, bring in caramel, bring in some dark fruit, bring in some oak, and just have it be very well rounded.
yeah. I mean, it drinks. Like I said, it's super easy. Like you mentioned, easy everyday drinker. You come home on a Monday, Tuesday. You don't want to get something too crazy. I mean, this right here would be, perfect. Um, and it drinks to me. It finishes a little bit hotter than 88 proof. Honestly, like even if somebody, I know a lot of the bourbon enthusiasts, they might get, they shy away from the 90 proof and lower sometimes because they want that, you know, 95, 100, full proof. caster and stuff. But this drink's a little bit, higher than 80 proof to me. Your finishes are higher to me.
Yeah.
I think it's really. You can't you can't knock it. I mean, this is just your tried and
True
true,
number
right
one
down,
fastball, right?
true number
As you
one
say.
fastball.
For
Yep,
sure.
right down the middle.
Yeah, I'd made a couple bourbons before that I'd been asked like make them super smooth, make them easy to drink, and it had no bite to it. And then people like it doesn't have that bourbon bite to it, so it's like we still need to have it somehow like in there. If not,
Yep.
it just tastes like whiskey, not bourbon. And then again, because it is for cocktailing, we need to have that like slight heat that's not like ethanolic, but just has a little bit of that bourbon bite to it. It's what's going to
Yep.
hold up the cocktail. So we still need to kind of bring that in. So if you wanted to add ice to this, add other spirits, add juice, it's gonna not feel like you're mixing something that's too low proof and then it won't watery. It's still gonna feel substantial.
I was gonna
Absolutely.
say you nailed what I was about ready to say. It's super flavorful, but like you said, because of that touch at the end, it would cut through anything, which is real nice because you still realize you're having a good bourbon, and that's a fun one to start with. And for you, you talk about you're we mentioned you're the master blender. You're getting to do all these cool things. How did you get into whiskey, and how impactful was meeting Rob Arnold?
Uh, that's such a good question. Thank you for asking. So I remember being in school and we had a professor that talked to us about traveling and how he'd gone to Ireland, Scotland, all these places. And at the time, I was like, I want a job that lets me travel. A little bit, kind of got there, but not quite. But one of the stories that you told us was that he tried Scotch and how it was so different from Irish whiskey, from Canadian whiskey, from Kentucky bourbon. And at that time, I was like, why? It's grainy, barrel. And again, like I was still young, so I was like, oh, that like has the same building blocks. Why is it turning out so different everywhere that you go? And that just got the wheels turning in my head. That led me to studying food science in college. And while I was there, it was great. Worked on coffee, worked on ice cream, worked in a sensory science kitchen where we had steak for breakfast a lot of the morning. So like, couldn't complain about any of that. But at the same time, it just still wasn't whiskey, and that question still kind of lingered there. And I was getting ready to graduate with my undergrad, and I was like, you know what? I don't really love the jobs that are out there in undergrad. Um, and at the time, the sensory science kitchen, I was a student worker and had started doing coffee research, which I loved. So I stayed for a master's, and the focus was flavor chemistry and sensory science. And during that time, I had plans to work on coffee, uh, and one of the coffee professors had heard that I was interested in whiskey because that's in a meat science kitchen. The one person that definitely doesn't want to do meat, that was me. Um, so it was kind of like, oh, she wants to work with whiskey. So he introduced me to Rob, and Rob, fantastic. So like I could say meeting Rob was life changing because I just don't know how I would have gotten started in this industry without Rob and his support and his help. And we chatted for a long time. I asked a lot of questions. Did I need a PhD? Should I keep going in school? At the time, he said, no, don't get a PhD. It's not going to help, which is really funny because it's Dr. Rob Arnold now, in case y'all weren't sure. And I ended up doing a
He just wanted to
project.
get there first, right? He just wanted to get there
Totally
first.
fine. Well, on it, to be very fair, he encouraged it later on, and he's like, "Hey, you should go get your PhD." I was like, "Nah, zero part of me wants to get a PhD, unless there's something I really love, and just zero part of that process seems like something I want to put myself through." But I ended up doing my master's project with Rob, and it was I think the beginning of his dissertation, his PhD dissertation, but it was to see if we could study the effects of terroir on new make spirits. So he had already grown four different varieties of corn in I think four or three different areas of Texas that had different climates, different farming practices. He then distilled it, gave me the distillate, and then I trained up a descriptive analysis panel. So this team was awesome. They could smell a cup of coffee, a cup of whiskey, whatever, a steak, what have you, and they would all be in sync as far as how they were trained because they had to identify what they were smelling and then quantify it. And their training made them pretty close. So trained up that panel, did a lot of flavor chemistry on the work as well. And I think in the end, what we saw is that there was a bit of an impact on where not only the variety but where it was grown, and it was that combination that made a different spirit. And I've tried to forget a lot of that because it was a rough time getting the masters, but that did give me my entry into whiskey, which is something I really wanted, and got my start at TX working with Rob.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Brandon, I mean, could you imagine eating steak for breakfast just as part of your class?
No, I
It
mean,
sounds
that
like it's
sounds
your
like
perfect class.
lovely dream job. Yes, yes,
It,
100%.
it was a good time. One of the other labs groups did brisket studies, so occasionally we got to steal brisket too, Texas brisket too. It's so good.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
yep, yep, yep.
But it was a fun place to work.
That's awesome. Now, what drew you to, or what drew you to it, or what? How did it come to be? You talked about how you journey ended up at at Jefferson's.
Yeah. So I, after I graduated, went to work at TX Whiskey. Was their whiskey scientist and blender for about 5.5 years, and I loved it. It was a dream job. Was having a blast. And in that time, I also got an offer to go work for a new startup out of Fort Worth. They're La Pulga Tequila or La Pulga Spirits. And I am Latina and have Mexican heritage. And it was, for me, it was very interesting to go and work on Mexican spirits and like see it through that lens. And even while I was at TX, I got a very cool opportunity to work with not an agave, but like a Sotol type distillation. And we just did it for fun, see what we could do. It was a blast. So that kind of got me hooked. Again, kind of curious. I went on what I call my tequila sabbatical for about a year and a half, working with tequila, mezcal, sotol. It was a blast. It is pronounced añejo, and I'm really curious to hear how you say it, just from what you said earlier.
Tell her how you said it and where we were when you said it, because it is.
I know
it is
how,
le-
I know how to
it's
say
le-
it.
Hall of Fame. It's a Hall of Fame mispronunciation.
There's video proof of it out there. I put it out there. I embraced my wordsmithing of things, and the best part is we flew all the way down. We enjoyed a trip down to Argentina with our wives, Patagonia. We ended up over in Chile. We're in a field in a Spanish-speaking country that I decided to say. Brandon. The best part is Brandon tells the story. He goes, "I could see the wheels turning, and he couldn't figure out how to pronounce it, and it came out J, and that it was a hard J, and yeah, and then the as you said, Brandon, the boy from the 606, the country boy, had to figure out how to tell me to pronounce things.
Yeah, and you could see it just the wheels were turning. He was looking at his notes, and he just could not. It wasn't registering,
I had
and
vacation mind. That's my
and
excuse.
he there was a couple of stutters in there, and a couple of a and J-Ho, and I just lost it. I was like, man, that's not it's not quite right.
But
No,
it happens to
No,
everyone, and you tried, so that
yeah,
was
he did try.
very poorly I tried.
it's okay. Um,
My- but yeah,
no.
I love a good añejo too.
Yeah.
Brandon and I have been fortunate enough. You were listing off. We've had the mezcals. We were Sotol. We had someone on that did that. I mean, it's been pretty cool to see all the Mexican spirits. But yeah, apparently I forgot how to speak for a moment.
Vacation brain. You just said it. It happens.
Yeah,
That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it.
does happen.
So I went to Tequila, was there for about a year and a half, had a blast, but also in that time I really missed the hands-on nature that I had at TX and working with whiskey. And there is an opportunity for me to join Jefferson's, which is also part of the Pernod family. So it was TX, Jefferson's, Rabbit Hole, Smooth Ambler were all part of Pernod Ricard. So when that opportunity came up, I said yes and moved to Kentucky because while I firmly believe that there is beautiful, beautiful Kentucky or bourbon outside of Kentucky, Kentucky is also the home place of bourbon. So I was excited to be here and come back for Jefferson's.
I was going to ask. I mean, what was it? it like leaving Texas? Because I feel like so my brother-in-law lives down in Texas. I believe you went to A&M, correct? Texas A&M. That's he lives in College Station. We get to go about once a year down there. I don't feel like Texas lets too many people leave. So what was it like leaving Texas for Kentucky and coming up this way?
Well, you do have to just drive for a while, and if you don't give up on the drive afterwards, it's pretty easy. But it was, I mean, it was bittersweet. Love Texas, have family and friends there, and it was sad leaving all of that, but at the same time was very excited to get to work with bourbon at this scale in Kentucky. So it was nerve-wracking, but also something that I really wanted to do. So it was a highlight, and it was there was just no question that I was going to do this. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, we'll see ya. Uh, but
Nice.
I've also never felt more Texan pride since I've left. Because when I lived in
Yeah.
Texas, if there's Texas decor, it's like, no, why would I want that in my house? And now there's like, maybe I need that Texas car air freshener. How are people going to know if they don't have that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I
That's
like it. I
cool.
like it. I was gonna say, and then A&M. Do you have your ring on? I mean, I
Um,
assume, or at least nearby.
I it is nearby. I don't wear it often because in production you just have to see one video of a degloving and then you are very careful with everything else. Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's a safety
100%.
guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's important and it's
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
It is. I've
So
seen many of those. It's not pretty.
no, I even to the point where with safety or with quality, I don't wear earrings unless they're like a closed loop because if those
Right.
get stuck, I'm
Yeah.
already in
Oh,
trouble. Yeah.
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 100%. 100%. I agree with you. That's
Well,
awesome.
I'm.
What?
I was gonna say, go for it, Brandon.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's awesome that you wanted to come up here because it's cool to see what you guys are doing now at Jefferson's. And Brandon, you want to introduce the next pour?
Yeah, so the next one, which I'm excited to talk about because, or at least, kind of how this whole idea came about, is the Jefferson's Ocean Voyage. This is we have number 34,
Yes.
and it's 90 proof. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, tell us about this. And of course, I know that John and I both have a lot of questions about this
I would say it's
offering
one of the
from you
most talked
guys.
about things out there, even to
Uh,
this day.
uh, 100%.
What about
Yep.
it? What could you possibly have to talk? No, I'm
I
just
don't
kidding.
know, but it seems like you all started something.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
what we do have, so we have Ocean Voyage 34. Up until probably in like a week or two, it will be the most new voyage available. Here, we're about to get into the next one. With Ocean, it's fun for us. So with a lot of our recipes, we want to make sure that we're offering consistency, that every single time you buy that bottle, you know exactly the quality that you're going to get, you know exactly the flavor profile you're going to get. With Ocean, we will not promise that we're going to be exactly the same voyage to voyage, and that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
We will make sure that it's the best quality before it goes on the boat, make sure it's even better quality once it comes off of the boat. So, Ocean for us is a fun place for us to play, for us to be able to kind of pick the spirits out, make our batches beforehand, and then once they're back, even see how they come back.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit out of our hands once they go on the boat. So we do our best
Of
before,
course.
we check after they
Yeah.
come back. But depending on, and I know this is probably the part y'all wanted to talk about, like where it went, how long it was there, what the climate was, if it was really rocky oceans, if like just what conditions it underwent, on how it comes back. And having gotten to work with a couple of voyages now where I see the spirit that leaves, the spirit that comes back, and then compare it to the barrels that stayed here, it is different. But I also understand that that is a very behind the curtains look that I'm very lucky to have. And usually I'll get kind of comments on what's coming back or the flavor profiles that are there. But if I could like highlight it for everyone, what it is maturation, not even accelerated, but just intensified. So like you are going to get more of that ester development. You're going to get more fruitiness off of it. You're probably going to get a little bit more concentration of what was going on. If it is going through bigger temperature fluctuations, if the bourbon is hitting parts of the barrel that was clearly or that had been previously left alone because of the angel share. So like even that headspace, you might now have a little bit more interaction hitting there. You're probably going to get a little bit more extraction, um, but a lot of what you're going to see is concentration. So something that might have taken, let's say, an additional 2 to 3 years here happened a lot faster because of the agitation and because of all the fluctuation that it underwent.
Correct.
I'm curious because with you working in Texas, and Brandon and I have gotten to do a lot of Texas whiskeys and learn from that down there. And obviously, the heat in Texas is a little different than the heat in Kentucky.
Oh yeah.
Did that, were there some similarities and in some senses? Because down there things play a little different than they do up here. I mean, was it almost like a little preview of what the voyages could do at times, where it was kind of a little different and you had to pay attention a little bit more so than maybe just letting it just chill in a rick house?
Oh, you're not going to believe me, but I still think that Texas dials it up a little bit harder. Well, and the reason for that, and this is again, I'm thinking
It gets warm and crazy down there.
it does get very warm and crazy down there. So just because of the way that it extracts, I think it extracts sooner. So, and don't quote me on this one because I'm still just trying to like figure out my patterns here. In Texas, we would take on a lot of oak very quickly. So then a lot of the time afterwards, it was just that oak chilling, cooling, right? Like resting and then turning from that like woodiness into some of the more like oak profile. So the sweetness, the vanilla, some of the caramels, some of the nuttiness is in there. While this one, it took on like it's been here for 4, 5, 6 years before it goes on the ocean. So it's already taken on a lot of that initial character. What's happening now is just like almost that smoothing out, that polishing that's going to happen. And that's where like you might get more fruit, you might get a bit more oak, but like it's just more of going to be the concentration. So it's concentrating what was already in there. It might extract a little bit more, but it's not like it's now reaching new levels of oak. Does that make sense? So it's playing with what's in the barrel versus in Texas, you're taking more from the barrel to begin with.
Yeah, it's happening on different ends of the journey, in a
But
sense. Yeah, no.
but it's still very fun to see like how it's turning out. We have I don't know how much I want to talk about this, but we do have a very cool project where we are tracking 11 barrels, taking very different routes for different lengths of time. And once they're back, I have their pre-departure on my desk, and I'll see once they arrive back on just how much they changed, especially because we were able to pick which route they went on based on the flavor profile of what they were pre-departure. So
Interesting.
that'll be
Interesting.
that'll be a cool one to see how that one turns out.
I was going to ask you, one of my questions about this is that does each voyage, does it take the same voyage, or is it just completely different voyages going on at one time? Do you have is it always so, like, for an example, like voyage 34, like is there multiple voyages going on? Is there different routes happening at
It's
different
fun.
times?
So Voyage 34 went all in the same boat together.
Okay.
Now there's a Voyage 35 that might have taken a similar route, but it
Right.
went on a different boat. So and
Gotcha.
the reason we count them different voyages, they might hit some of the same ports, some of the same, like they might cross
Right.
equally the same amount of times, but also
Right.
because they're experiencing different weather conditions, different patterns, different,
Correct.
just different trips, we count them
Yeah.
as an individual voyage. So we might have
Gotcha. Oh,
multiple
of
voyages
course.
going on at a time, but they'll all be like, then that'll be like voyage A, B, and C, not like they're all A.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. How long, if you can tell us, how long do they stay on the voyage before they come?
So it depends. Some of them go 3 to 4 months, others go 4 to 8 to 9 months. Part of it
Okay.
depends on where it's going. So if it's like a hot climate that it's going to be hot consistently, they can go a little bit shorter. If it's like a climate where they might have more cool weather, then we'll make sure that they go a little bit longer. If usually we try to have them go on the longer end, but if we need to make sure that we have the next bottle, then we might ask for it to come back a little bit sooner, but it still has to hit that minimum. So if it's really hot weather, about 3 months. If it's more temperate or more all around, then probably around like 4 to 5 months, I would say, as a minimum.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Yeah, we want to make
Gotcha.
sure that they've gone long enough to get impact from the sea.
Yeah. So you can actually control it and say, hey, like, it's been out there long enough, like, bring it back. You know what I'm saying? Is that a,
Yeah, yes, but I think at that point it would have to be like over a year for me to then be like, oh man, that's been going for a while. Like, let's make sure we have
oh,
some
okay.
stuff to harvest.
Yeah.
Because usually we'll know the voyage is gonna go, like at least the route it's gonna go on, or more or less, it's gonna go
Hmm.
around the world. It's gonna go in a hot climate, something like that. It's
Right.
like, okay, cool. Let
Hmm.
me kind of pick out those barrels, but other than that, the voyage does what the voyage needs to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do
I
you
like it.
guys have like a team or like even you, for example, like say like, so for an example, Voyage 34 that we're drinking tonight. Like, did you guys even track, you tracked like the weather patterns and that's happening on this voyage to see like, okay, things could get, it could be just different. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be rocky, it could be hot, it could be cold, it could be whatever.
So
Um,
we do track, but not so much to control it. It's more of tracking to
uh,
then understand what happens. So like we
yeah,
track weather, we track locations, we can see what the ship underwent. But that's
yeah,
more for us to then kind of give you almost it's concert tour, right? Like you can see the tour
right, right,
going on, but not
correct,
so much the like there could be a tornado, or I guess hurricane is
right,
more likely than a tornado, but like there could be a hurricane
yeah,
coming, and that's really on the ship to make sure that they're safe and that they're okay.
right, right,
And then for us, if it went through inclement weather, if it happened to be on very still seas, for us that's more of the like, ooh, wonder what that's going to do to the whiskey. So we don't really want to
right,
control it as
correct,
much as we did as much as we could pre getting on the ship. And then
right,
we really just want to let Mother Nature do her thing and
correct.
like finish shaping this whiskey.
Well, and that's why I asked because I was like, well, obviously you can't control it once it gets on the ship,
Yeah.
like from your standpoint, right? I was just curious to see if you guys are tracking it to see, okay, what type of weather and conditions is it going through to kind of get in your mind of like what could be happening in the barrel as far as a flavor profile.
Yeah, we'll track it for that, and then we'll release that data on our
Mhm.
website. So I think we have up to
Oh,
Voyage
okay.
29. I think we're doing a little bit of addition there, but you can always see. I think they have graphs for you, so you see the temperature, humidity, and pressure that they underwent, and also see the path that they took.
Oh, that's really cool.
And then it's always fun for us on the back end to be like, all right, let's see what it underwent and then make predictions, and then it's like, oh, did we guess right? Or again, it's also a surprise for us once it comes back, but our big thing is checking
Correct.
the pre-departure to the arrival to see just how much it's changed. And so far from the voyages that we've seen, they do change, and for the better. It's interesting, and it's nice to see what a little bit of travel can do to mature a whiskey.
No,
Yeah,
one
because
hundred
this
percent.
this one's definitely
This is
interesting. It's totally different than the very small batch. It's to
very
me, it's got
different.
a little more like spice in it, and
Yep.
but it doesn't have like the even being a couple of proof points higher. The very small batches Brandon was talking about cutting through things and kind of giving you that quote unquote warm Kentucky hug down
Mhm.
the finish. This one's like just a flavor like cruise to me. Like it,
Mhm.
I guess maybe pun intended with the voyage. I don't know, but it's like a very consistent ride, which I wasn't expecting.
This one for me has a lot of the oak, like there's a lot of toasted oak on it, but it's also, and this is going to be a weird note, it's almost like perfumey or cologne forward, where it's still very it's got the oak, it's bold, but it still has that just like a very like aromatic nose on it. And then it's,
Mhm.
for me, you can still have like there's a little bit of that fruit or some of that brightness on the nose. You get sweetness on the palate, especially on the front to mid palate, and then it just finishes with like a nice spice oak, like a nice dry clean toasted oak here in like the chest.
Correct. I agree with that, and I get that, like you said, that sweetness on the front, kind of like a, almost kind of like that salted caramely,
Mhm.
creme brulee type, feel on the front,
Yeah.
and then it kind of finishes with that spice toward the middle to the end. and it's just very smooth.
Yeah. And then
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
I think I even got like a little bit of just I was really surprised when I got it, like a little bit of citrus there on the very like finish, like 10 seconds after the finish.
Mhm.
No, I think
It's so
it's
unique.
I like it a lot, and I think what I've also really enjoyed is talking to people about it, hearing like what everybody's favorite voyage is, because then if I can track it down, it's always fun to go back and taste it, or even taste them side by side, because just kind of hearing like what's your favorite voyage, have you found it yet, and they're all going to be
Mhm.
different. And again, it's a little bit like an Easter egg kind of whenever you're going through the
Right.
voyages.
Do you have a favorite voyage to date so far?
I think what I've tried a lot of, and I just heard a lot of hype about it, was Voyage 24.
Yeah.
And Voyage 24 is very, very good. I do like 34 a lot as well. And then trying to think what the other one was. But I want to say 24 and 34. And then I did get an opportunity to try the one of the first voyages, like the extended search. And that one was also very interesting. And it's just cool to see what they were to like how they're going now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do y'all have
I
a
was gonna say, I
favorite
mean,
voyage?
I don't know. This might be my first
34.
voyage.
Oh, nice.
I was gonna say we've
No.
had Jeffersons, but I don't know if I've ever had it before somewhere else. If I knew to pay attention to the voyage number, because
Okay.
like yes, we do this, but at the same time, not every brand am I intimately familiar with, and now I will pay much more close attention to what is on shelves because now I'm very curious, and also look on the website to see where in the world they went, or at least how the journey impacted them to a degree.
Yeah, and
The temperature changes, things like that.
not to add a layer to that as well, we also have Ocean Single Barrel, and those are cast strength, and those had their own dedicated voyage. So, like, if you are ever exploring, which single barrel obviously brings in its own nuances because for me, if a single barrel tastes like what the core bourbon tastes like, then we did something wrong because it needs to be an elevated experience of it. So those we want it to be like we just talked about it having a citrus note or like that salted caramel note or like a creme brulee note. We want it to be those like
Right.
beautiful like facets that maybe it's not that full roundedness, but it does those facets very well. So like some of the just weirder profiles or just not the common profile. That's what we want on single barrel, which fun to explore, a little bit harder to find once you're
Right.
in the single barrel realm. Yeah.
No,
Interesting.
absolutely.
We're gonna have to, Brandon. We're gonna do a little more searching, and I'm
No,
excited
it's
though to go to our third pour because we had very small batch, 88 proof, Voyage 3490 proof. This one we jump up a little bit on the cash strength, and the Jefferson's Reserve cash strength. What can you tell us about this guy who clearly comes in a little hotter?
Yeah. 130 proof. That's not hot. Um, so,
no,
but
no.
Let
It's
me
flavor.
rephrase that.
Flavor.
Wordsmithing here. Comes in with a little more. Comes in with a higher number. There we go.
no,
My MBA putting it to good use, Brandon. Comes in with a higher number.
so
Hot equals flavor.
Reserve Cast Strength was one of the first projects I got to work on once I got back to Jefferson, so it's a lot of fun. It is 130 proof. I would say though, like it's not gonna drink as hot as a 130 proof. Like it's still not a low proof, so it's gonna have some heat to it, but not as much as you would expect from 130. Um, so it's also an 8-year-old, which we like to talk about, to chat with people about. And one of the big things with cast strength that it's just like fun for us to know is this was actually so it was 8 years old. It was harvested at 130 proof. It sat for a little bit. Like I think it sat for 2 to 3 years, and in that time it just married and mingled and rested, and it because of that we think it has like a little bit of creaminess on it, so that's why it doesn't drink as hot. Like it had a little bit of time just to breathe, and with this one we always kind of say cherry pie, so you get that like nice a little bit of like a graham cracker cinnamon crust, but you also have that almost like baked cherry in there, and then yeah, once you sip it, it's not the heat builds, but it's not as much as a 130 proof as what you'd expect it to be, and it still has like a really full mouthfeel. So it's not it's again for that proof. It's like more. I wouldn't say like oily, but it's got that more like medium to fuller body, and it's fun to drink. Definitely one that um, it was just fun for us to work with and to make and to release and share with people.
You do not get that deep, burning Kentucky hug from a 130 proof that you would normally get. Not even close.
Mm.
Actually, for me, I don't even get I don't even get a Kentucky hug from the 130 on this.
Mm-mm.
It's kind of wild. It's kind of crazy.
It
Uh,
comes in with a little bit at the beginning with a little bit of heat, but nothing like you said,
no,
Ali. You wouldn't, and I think to Brandon's point, I wouldn't have thought if you blinded me, didn't tell me what the
yeah,
proof is. I don't think I'd have gone up to that, which is a testament
no,
to the
100%,
complexity on this.
100%. Like you nailed it. Like John, like if you would have blindfolded me and told me to taste this and guess the proof of it, there was no way I would have said 130 on this.
So
No way.
I do enjoy high proof. I feel like it's hard not to be in this job and not enjoy high proof. Like I love a lot of flavor, and that's what I do love about reserve cask strength is that you get the full flavor. You still have the proof, but you're not necessarily competing with that alcohol punch because while it's there, it's an element
Right.
of it. It's harmonious with everything else. So you get that full flavor, you get the full mouthfeel, you get the nice long finish. And again, alcohol's there. Like you want alcohol, we want that bourbon bite, but it's not overshadowing any other part of the bourbon.
Yep. Totally
And
agree.
you mentioned so this is an 8 year, correct? What's the typical Jefferson range on other products, if you can say?
For ages,
Yeah.
so our VSB is a minimum of 4, but it's anywhere from like 4 to 7, just depending on what component we're pulling. Ocean is also minimum of 4, but it's easy to see it 5, 6, 7 again, depending the flavors that we want there. Because with Ocean, we'll like make sure that we're checking the lots, choosing like kind of pre-batching it and then putting it on the Ocean. With Reserve, we're actually about to see that one. It's been 7 to 8, but we're about to go straight 8 with an age statement on it. So, just trying to make some of the features that we already had a little bit more visible and sharing it with people so that they're also aware of it. And then, yeah, this cast strength was 8-year-old, and then we also have a rye that we added in 2025. That one as well. I'm going to say minimum of 4, but I'm pretty sure most of the components are 6 to 9-year-old. So, I I'll always say minimum. I don't like painting
Right.
myself into a hole and then like being stuck in
No.
something. But
I was gonna say you're on video, so you said it. It's true, no
I
matter
said
what.
minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fair. Minimum. That's awesome.
I was gonna say this is really
It's
it's been fun too to
so
go
good.
through this because these are three very different. You're getting a different feel on each one of these, different flavor profile on each one of these, which is pretty neat. I know some people, they kind of want to see something all the way through, but at the same time, it's fun to see what you all can come up with, and whether that's having the fun on the ocean voyages, letting some things age longer to get to the reserve cash strength. So for y'all, how do you kind of keep it traditional with bourbon? You got to keep it. There's a lot of traditionalists out there that don't want to get too fancy. Although you kind of blew that out of the water with the ocean voyage, but also do some cool stuff and not go maybe over the top gimmicky. Because I know maybe at the beginning people were like, "Oh, ocean voyage," it was, but now truthfully, it's not uncommon. There's a lot of river age stuff out there. That's how it all started. If we really want to get into it all, a voyage was how it all started. So, I mean, but how do you guys kind of push the boundaries, but still, kind of pay homage to the history of things?
So one of the ways, and full credit, Trey. Trey has such a knack for saying like, why are we doing it this way? Why don't we do it this way? Like he's very great at saying, all right, I can see the tradition here, but we can also do this and still kind of do our own version of the tradition. So he's very good at kind of pushing those boundaries, still keeping us true to bourbon, but still saying, you know, we don't have these constraints that other of the heritage brands have. Why are we putting that constraint on ourselves? So Trey, I would say, is probably one of the biggest ways that we get to have that creativity and for him to push it. We also just kind of see anything that we make has to be good. And I know that that sounds simple, but it's like we could do a finish, we could do another river voyage, like we could do all of this stuff, but if it's not doing something better, if it's not making us better, then we'll do a lot of trials, but it has to be more than what we started with. And there is a very great tagline, I think, from Jefferson's when they started, and it was transform corn, get bourbon, transform bourbon, get Jefferson's. So everything that we do try to add something of value to what we're building and what we're making. And the best part is like we're encouraged to do that. So like it's like, hey, what can you do? And then what do you expect to happen from that? And then, is it tradition in the breaking? Is it something that you're expanding on? Is this just something completely new that still fits within the mold of what bourbon or whiskey or rye is? So we do have a lot of that freedom and encouragement to explore and just really have fun with bourbon.
I like that. I love that tagline too. As a marketing guy or quasi marketing guy, I love that. That's a good ethos too.
Yeah, no, it's fun. They had really cool assets too. Like they looked awesome. If we can find them, we'll share them with y'all. But it was really, really cool stuff from back then too.
That's awesome. So anything that you could tell us on on air, not going to put you on the spot, but if you can tell us anything cool coming down the line, anything the different. And I want to preface it. I want to say that with I have a there's a local dive bar that's literally I could four four houses down from my house in Lexington, Kentucky. And when I first moved to this neighborhood 5 years ago, they had the cheapest bourbon. I mean, they had anything you want. It was just the cheapest pours that you could find. And hidden behind a bunch of bottles was I saw a old school. I don't know how old it was, but it was a Jefferson's 10-year rye.
Hmm.
And I don't know how old it was, but the bottle looked old, like it looked, what I'm saying. And I would go in there and I'd get it. They'd give it to me for $5 a pour, and I think I finished the bottle because I'd go in there and just hang out, whatever. And it was glorious, just fantastic. So anything you could, give us a hint to what's happening that you can online. If not, we'll talk offline, obviously. But um,
Yeah, so I
you know,
think I know we talked about it a little bit before. We're seeing some proof increases and some age statements going on in some bottles. Um, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about some of it, but like, yes,
not trying to get you in trouble.
no, I
Promise.
appreciate it. I would like to do my job. We are going to start
Yes.
seeing
Ah.
a couple cool things coming out here in the next couple of years where we're playing more on the age side. So that'll be a lot of fun for us.
Yep.
Yeah, could be bringing some stuff
Yeah.
back. So that for us is very fun, and we're excited about it. Now, I think the only thing is we know it's coming and we have it planned, and it's just waiting. And I'm not.
Mhm.
I've never been accused of being patient before, so I'm just having to distract myself, work and focus on other projects, and then just kind of like keep one in the distance. Like, yeah, we're 2 years. All right, now we're 1 year. Like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll be there soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say patience is tough in this industry
Oh
now.
yeah.
man.
Now,
Yeah.
for y'all, like you talked about, a lot of what's coming forward is age statement, some tweaks to some different things that people may have always known y'all for, or at least what they expected from y'all on the bottles. I'm curious. I know you haven't been there for forever at Jefferson, so you weren't there on Voyage One. But has there been a blend expression that thing that you tried to do differently that worked well and surprised you, or maybe not, and you're like, man, I really thought that would work.
Yeah, so there's actually the rye. So I know you said that we had a 10-year-old rye that you were drinking. The rye that we released just last year in 2025, um, very good. Like again, I made it, so like I'm possibly a bit biased on this one, but we were
Just
asked,
as you should be.
yeah, best wine we've ever had. Um,
Yeah.
but it was so what we were asked to do is again, I think especially with our very small batch bourbon and our rye, we wanted to do something that was accessible, right? Not only from like a price
Yep.
perspective, but also from a flavor perspective. Like I don't want to give you a bourbon or a rye that's going to leave you like coughing up a lung. And we can lie to ourselves and say it went down the wrong pipe. I'm just kidding. That does sometimes happen. But we wanted to give you something that you would want to reach for, easily reach for. And with the rye, I'm sure y'all heard it plenty of times from other people. You'll have people say like, "I'm not a rye drinker," and it's just like I only get spice or alcohol. So we wanted to make a rye that was approachable and accessible, and we did that by blending. So again, it's fun for us to really dig into our blending roots and focus on that. And with this rye, it is cherry forward, has a little bit of herbaceousness on it, but then like it walks you through like that fruit, and then you get that really nice like oak and barrel characters show up, and then you get a little bit more of that sweetness, so that like more developed oak and barrel character, and then it takes you into that nice rye spice, but it's a really subtle walkthrough rather than a punch straight
Right.
to your palate. So then that one's been a lot of fun just personally when we were out and sharing it with people, and we'll hear a lot of people like, "Oh, I'm not a rye drinker," and usually they are nice enough to indulge us and try it. And then
Right.
I would say 9 times out of 10, it is a, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Or
Yeah.
like, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. And occasionally we'll still get the person like, yeah, still not a rye drinker, but that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And so it's just nice to be able to have that for anyone that really wants to get into rye. And we're happy that we're able to again make a space for everyone at the whiskey table, at the Jefferson's table, for them to explore our spirits and hopefully find something they really love or feel more welcome in this spirit space.
Yeah. And you know, you talk about how like a lot of people shy away from rye because you know they get it just doesn't hit that sweet note for them. It's just a spicy whatever all through the palate. But you know, John and I both are we levitate to the rye because for whatever reason, John and I we get that we get sweetness from it
Mhm.
in our palate, and it's just I don't know. It's just if you do it right, which we all know that it's rye, and everybody should know. Everybody's listening. You should know that for distilleries out there and anybody that's making rye, it's very difficult to do. Like it's very difficult to distill. It can get very, you know, it can kind of get gummy and oatmeal-y sometimes. But everybody should just understand why that is. Because I've had people ask me in public, and it's like, why is rye so much more than just regular bourbon? And I was like, it's super hard to distill. Like you really have to have, you know, the equipment and process and the manpower, all that. But no, like yeah, the
We love
rye
a good rye.
is
Give rye a
golly, and I
chance.
love it.
Give
I
rye
give
a
it, give
chance.
rye a chance. That's
I
all I'm gonna
We need a
say.
shirt with that.
there's a very good chance that if you go up to Hiram Walker in Canada, obviously Canadian rye, they have a lot of rye T-shirts. So I would say happy shopping. But you know, I do love a rye. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful whiskey. To your point, it can get really gummy. It can foam up a lot, making it
Mhm.
very difficult. You get less yield off of the grain alone. The grain itself, you have to
Correct.
bring in from colder climates, so there's a good chance that you're shipping it in and making it more expensive. It's already, I think, more expensive than just like corn on its own. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
challenges to making rye before you even start. Um, that you really gotta love rye to make rye. And again, this is where I'm very lucky that I get to blend rye, which means I get to pick out ryes. Like I want that one because it's got that sweet note. I want this one because it has that oily mouthfeel that like you're not going to be able to taste it, but man, is it going to soften up some of that heat and that bite. So like I get the best part of rye because I get to look at all these like already beautiful ryes, and then say, all right, I want rye number one because of this, rye number two because of this, rye number three because of this, and then I get to tinker until like I get the right proportions. But
Right.
rye is a lot of fun. Blending rye is even more fun.
I love it. I love it. Well, and I was going to
Uh,
say, I mean, folks that may not know, too, Jefferson's is technically right in our backyard. It's, at the Kentucky Artisan Distillery.
mhm.
I mean, people can go visit, right? They can come in and say hi, in a
Yeah.
sense.
So it's out at KAD Kentucky Artisan Distillery. That's where our brand home is. You can go on a tour. You can hear about the Jefferson story, see the bottling line. There's a shark that you can ask to see, and I feel like that should be enough. Just ask for the shark; they'll show it to you. And that also kind of ties into even how like Ocean came about. But they're a great team out there, great storytellers, and if you ever find Trey, ask him to tell you stories because it's so much fun to hear how Jefferson's came about and how all of our SKUs came together. And it's just Trey living life and coming up with a lot of these bourbons.
Well, it's been fantastic because this is, we Brandon and I, we've known Jeffersons for a while. I don't think we've done a deep dive on them before, and it's really cool to see and I think this is what people forget. Blending is an art, and there is some
Yep.
really cool stuff you all can do. You're a chef in a different kitchen. I mean,
100%.
It's fun, and again, we're really lucky to have great bourbons to start with, and then it's I know it's cliche to say, but it's blending is just making the whole greater than the sum of its parts, and it's always fun to see that come together.
well, and you got to live your dream because, like you said, you were the one that didn't really want to do the food side. You wanted to go into the whiskey, and you made it happen, which is pretty cool. And I'm loving what you guys are doing. Brandon, any other questions? Because I feel like deep down you really want to ask more things about the voyages. Just knowing you're a curious guy.
We already touched base on all my stuff, like especially the voyages. Like I did, like shoot,
Well, then we got tropics. You guys did a good job on figuring out a couple of ways to
correct,
have fun with that. So
correct.
I just love that.
I'm just waiting on the voyage Icelandic, voyage, or anything an Alaskan voyage or whatever it is. So that would be fun.
That would be cool. I am just guessing
Yeah.
here, but I think it would have to be a very long voyage, a very very long voyage.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
But
no,
I'm
we'll pop it up the chain. Really, you got to get Trey involved, and then Trey will make it happen. Um,
all right.
yeah.
We'll talk to Trey.
All right. Perfect.
We'll see what we can make happen. And folks, if you haven't, go make it happen. Go give
Yes.
Jefferson's a try. Yeah, I know you might have been put off by what you once thought was a gimmick on the ocean side, but it's not. It's a
It's
cool,
not a
cool thing.
gimmick.
There's a lot of different things happening in the bourbon world, and I love it that there's
Correct.
creativity out there. There's new ideas, and it's not just the traditional thought process anymore. And Allie, thank you for sharing your story and
Yep.
Jefferson's story with us.
Yeah, this was a
Thank you.
blast. Thank y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for helping
Cheers.
us being on. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.